this episode, we'll be sharing with you very important tips regarding scaffolding, particularly for those who are building story buildings, but it's also useful for other building types. Now, these tips are going to save you lots of money in your present building project, but also you'd continue to reap benefits from this project many months and years after this. At the end of the video, I'll share with you the cost for putting up scaffolding for what you see on the screen. And so stay tuned and let's dive straight into it. Scaffolding is essentially a temporary structure, and it's erected to support work and material during construction, but also repair, painting, plastering, cleaning of buildings, and other large structures. So you can think of it as a temporary platform that provides some safety and stable workspace. Now, it is crucial because we're talking about safety here. Working up at heights without proper support is incredibly dangerous. Now, I'm always wary of workmen doing things that are dangerous to them, whether they are not wearing the right PPEs, covering their nose, wearing the safety harness, and I see the videos or the images after the fact, and I would just call my workmen, or I would call my builder and we would discuss this. I was like, you really have to keep it safe, you really have to put on the right protective equipment. And some of the workmen, they've done this for so long and they feel quite confident doing, but I try to let them do it the better way. The other thing I also do is to pray for them. I add my part by praying for them, and since the beginning of this project, we actually pray that there are no incidents or accidents, and to the glory of God, there has not been a single incident or accident which has put someone in danger. And yet still, we definitely suggest and recommend that they take the right safety measures. Now, that's something that scaffolding provides, not just safety but also easy access to do different things. Now, there are different types of scaffolding, and we're just going to touch on the common types, at least the ones that we encountered when we had to make the decision and choose what to do with that. There is the scaffolding that you can make with bamboo, and bamboo is cheaper typically than wood and metal. So if you have a structure and you want to quickly put it up, maybe consider letting them use bamboo to set up your scaffold so that there will be quick access to the building and then to get things done. But there is also the option to use wood, which is slightly more expensive, may have slightly more durability, but like bamboo is also really strong. In both cases though, you need an experienced carpenter to put those together and to knock all of that together to put up the structure. So there is the cost of the material, and there's also the cost of the workmanship, which can add up to a certain amount. The thing about bamboo and wood is once your project is done, you typically cannot use them again. Maybe they would have experienced some rain and exposure to other weather conditions, and they will not be in a good state for using going forward. So that is the disadvantage of those materials. Now, the next thing would be galvanized steel, and those are more durable, long lasting, and of course more expensive, but then they are able to achieve the same purpose of scaffolding initially. Now, when it comes to scaffolding in Ghana, you have the option to go with any of these. If it's wood or bamboo, you may be able to buy them new or buy them from someone who just recently used it, and that will help cut the cost. So you want to consider those options, right? Like, you don't want to go and buy new fresh wood from wood that would typically be used for roofing or something and use it for the scaffolding, but you want really strong wood which has not rotten or anything. Other option with metal or galvanized steel is that you will be able to rent or fabricate your own, and that is going to be the crux of this video. Should you fabricate or should you rent? At least in our case, renting initially sounded like it's going to save you some cost, right? And that assumes that your workmen are all ready. You have your money set to buy all your materials, and you're able to do things and put things together quickly within 20 days or a month. But that is not actually what happens in practice. In practice, you can take multiple months. As in our case, we actually took our sweet time and took a while to do the plastering. We've left it there, we've moved it, we've even used it for another project and then come back. So all of that means multiple days, right? Now the cost of renting at the time, I think, was 60 or 40 cedis. But even today, right, it's 60 cedis per room. And when they say per room, it is this section that I've shown on the screen, right? So that they consider as a room. And so if you need what you're seeing on your screen right now, we are talking about 12 rooms. So 60 cedis times 12 rooms. If you multiply that by 20 days, your cost of just renting this structure is 14,400, right? Now contrast that with going for fabrication. We're able to get this fabricated somewhere in 2024 around 15,000 or so, and that already has broken even. And the difference now is we still have the material, we still have the scaffold even after the project is done. Now, what have we been doing with the scaffold? We've been using it for plastering, we'll use it for painting, we'll use it for other construction work. When the project is done, we have two options. We can decide to sell it, we can rent it out, but actually we plan to keep it because in a few years, maybe we want to do some repair works, we want to do some painting, we want to do some plastering. That would require another scaffold, and we don't necessarily go and rent, although in that particular situation it may be possible to do the work within 3 days, and so renting will not be such a bad idea. So then we will use it. So it means that doing or fabricating the scaffold made absolute sense for us, because then we will win now and continue to win. We could do all those construction works without being under pressure that on a daily basis we are racking up cost. The other thing I would say is that when you look at this side of the structure, it was really close to the wall, and that's one of the, I would say, things that we don't desire so much. You can almost call it a mistake. In the future, I'll be sharing some of these things which maybe would help others to make their decision. But it's pretty close to the wall, so the decision around that was to do the wooden scaffold just for that side of the wall, which costs around 8,000 cedis, because we got the wood pretty cheap and we had a good carpenter who was able to put that for us together. So in total, the scaffolding cost us around 20,000, but the metal scaffold, which keeps winning, which we keep using, just cost us merely maybe 15,000 or 12,000. And we've been having it there, we've been using it for months. Whereas like just for a month of rental, you would break even at the same cost. I'll conclude by saying that choosing the right scaffolding isn't merely about saving money. Make sure you're doing something which is safe. It's also about efficiency and ensuring that your project runs smoothly and you are able to have, or your workmen are able to have access to all levels of your building during the construction phase. And I hope that this tip helps you to continue winning in your building project. And I'll see you in the next video with another key tip about building and construction. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, and let me have your comments and share your comments so that we are also able to learn from you in this community.